Now I'm going to turn it over to our own Grace Sharkey. Her hair is starting to fade a little bit, but not her. She's bright as ever. She's got Dan Lewis with her this morning. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Vincent. Nice to see you this morning. And yes, some exciting news once again coming out of Convoy, raising another $260 million to continue growing their business. Dan, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm excited to go over this with you. Awesome. And you know what's I wanted to actually talk to you about this continued investment from your existing investors, right? Billy Gifford as one, T. Rowe as the other. But these two investors in particular are known for their long-term investments, especially in this supply chain space. So what does this tell you about really what Convoy is looking to do in the future and for the long-term development of this industry as a whole?
I think that's really an important point to make. This is a long-term bet. You know, everybody here on this program, everybody in the freight industry understands the importance of our supply chain. I think over the last couple of years, with everything that's gone on during COVID, the rest of the country has become very aware of the importance of our supply chain and the pain that people feel when the supply chain isn't healthy. And this is an example of kind of the opportunity in front of us to use technology to make the supply chain more resilient. And these long-term investors are betting that over the next decade, you know, this massive trillion-dollar trucking industry is going to shift from offline methods to digital-first online methods, and they're making a huge bet on Convoy to bring that to be. And that's kind of the challenge, you know, of our era, and we're working on that very, very focused and very aggressively.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about our conversation about this was what you've learned over the past almost 5 years now about the carriers that you work with. They're all becoming early adopters of technology, which is really hard for a fragmented industry to do. Why do you think that your carriers have really trusted you in building out this technology and using it to scale their businesses?
Yeah, there's really two things, and it was hard. It was a big challenge, and one of the things I'm most proud of is bringing truck drivers online and then giving them a better experience because of that. When we first started, it was very hard. I remember the first 100 truck drivers I talked to, couldn't get them to sign up back in 2015. And what I realized was no one's going to bet on the future and on technology without having something real today. So we had jobs, we went and got loads, we got freight, and we started getting truck drivers signed up to do that work and use the Convoy app. And what's so important is that when they use the app, we're able to give them so many benefits that they can't get as a small trucking company, small carrier, or an owner operator. We're able to pay them really quickly. We're able to let them do easy document management. It's easy for an owner operator to dispatch and manage a few other truck drivers. All these things that were more challenging to do without this technology in their hand are easier to do with the technology in their hand. So getting better jobs and having an easier time running your business, getting paid faster, you know, we put our money where our mouth is and they don't have to just trust us. It's a better experience for them right out of the gate.
Absolutely. And over the last year, you guys have come out with amazing pieces of solutions for this industry. We look at the dynamic routing, scheduling, Convoy Go, Convoy for brokers. How have your customers, especially your broker customers in times like this where they're looking for smaller capacity, how are they working with you in order to keep up with their customers' demand, but also fight against this current market?
Yeah, and the market's changing, but over the last year or two, it's been really tight. And, you know, Convoy had access to tens of thousands, has access to tens of thousands of small carriers and owner operators. And that was the fastest growing segment in the trucking industry. Tons of people getting into the industry. And so a lot of other brokers looking for capacity and that don't have the same investors and the same budget to go build their own software and technology solutions or the same engineering teams to do that, started to partner with Convoy to get direct access to this growing population of owner operators and small carriers that's online and plugged into a technology platform that makes it easier for them to track and deliver great service and great capacity for their customers. And so honestly, Convoy was just in the right position to be able to offer a really high quality level of capacity through plugged in truck drivers at a time when it was hard to find. And I think we've been able to earn the loyalty and kind of trust of now a lot of other brokers as well that are relying on the Convoy platform to deliver that best-in-class service for their customers. And I think we're going to see that continue because we have a really unique carrier base. This small carrier base is really unique to Convoy, especially having them online and using a technology platform.
Yeah, when we talked to you, you had mentioned how at first you're a little nervous sharing this network of drivers with brokers. And, what's interesting is we've seen so many different integrations and partnerships over this last year, because I think people are realizing that, there's actually different ways to compete in this industry and ways that we can actually work together, though, to make it more sustainable. As you start opening this up to brokers, how do you feel that is creating a better environment for sustainable transportation growth?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little, when we first opened up our platform, I remember thinking, okay, we just spent 7 years building this really unique thing. And now it's going to be, all the companies that are also competing for freight are going to be using this. But what I realized is that's really the only way to get to this Convoy mission, to transport the world with endless capacity and zero waste. And when we think about what our truck drivers are looking for and the trucking companies that run on Convoy, they want to have more options. They want to have more opportunities to find that perfect load that's nearby and convenient. And they want to find that round trip or that reload. And so the more freight that we can bring into our system, because we have an algorithm and an advanced technology that's looking at all of those different jobs and thinking about which one is optimal for this truck driver based on where they are, and which combination of jobs is optimal, the more opportunities we have in our network, the better our system is at finding that perfect combination of jobs and reducing empty miles as much as possible, which is one of the largest areas of waste and inefficiency in the industry. So we're not going to have all the freight, but if we can bring the freight together into our technology platform through a program like Convoy for Brokers, we can start to have visibility into all the freight, and we can orchestrate the system to reduce as much unnecessary driving and empty miles as possible and do the best match concept. And that's really why this concept of co-opetition and aggregating different networks and marketplaces is really a win for the industry, and definitely better from a sustainability perspective because it gives us the opportunity to reduce additional waste.
Yeah, I want to get to the sustainability point here in a second, but first, part of this raise is to start accelerating the deployment of newer products and continue building off of what you've already done so far. What areas are you hoping, or can we expect to see from Convoy in regards to product development, especially for these carriers?
We're going to continue to invest in products and services that make it easier for owner-operators and small carriers to show up with kind of the same access to financial services, payment terms, access to fuel at discounted rates that some of the larger carriers have. And that's one of the first things that Convoy did. When we first started, we said, look, we'd love you to use this app. This will make the system better. If you use it and you do all the different steps with it, we're going to pay you for no fee, kind of free quick pay, in a couple days, really fast. That was the first thing that we did to try to create an attraction for truck drivers to use the app. And we're going to continue to double down on things like that. How do we share the value created through a system like Convoy with truck drivers? And one of the first ways we did it was with this free quick pay. So I think that's an area we're going to continue to invest in technology development and new products for truck drivers and trucking companies. We're also going to double down on some of the kind of most innovative programs we've built to date. The Convoy Go drop and hook program. We've recently started doing spot drop and hook, flexible trailer management, so you can flex up and down, the drop and hook volume you're running. We're going to keep doing that and making that high quality, efficient drop and hook freight available to the long tail small, medium owner-operator carriers. We're going to keep building things like, the guaranteed primary program, which allows rates to fluctuate and really is innovation in the routing guide. I think I saw a tweet yesterday. I'm trying to remember who posted it, but it said something like, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince us that contract means something in freight. And I would love contract to mean something in freight. But let's figure out the right structure of a contract so that it can mean something over time and be what we expect it to be, which is that consistent, reliable experience between a shipper and their transportation partner, right? So let's keep innovating there and finding solutions that'll let that happen through different market cycles. So we're going to take these dollars and we're going to invest in, the fundamental things that make the freight industry better and that are going to improve the experience for the truckers on our network.
Just checking one issue off at a time, especially that contract one. If you can overcome that, that would be huge for the whole industry as a whole. So it's great to hear that. And tomorrow, Dan, is Earth Day. You're going to be keynoting the Net Zero Carbon Summit here with us. What can our audience expect, and what are you hoping to relay from what Convoy is working on as well?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that are really important when we think about the sustainability opportunity for transportation. As we know, trucking is a big industry, lots and lots of trucks on the road, and billions and billions of miles driven every year. 35% of the time when trucks are running, they're empty. More than 50% of the time, truck drivers are not productively driving with a load in the back of their truck. They might be waiting or driving empty. And everything that Convoy does, when we think about improving the quality of the network, service quality, access to capacity, building these round trips and reloads, efficient appointment times, drop and hook. It's all about creating more efficiency, and that naturally reduces unnecessary time for the truck driver, and it reduces unnecessary waste for the environment from empty miles driven. And so we're going to keep doubling down on that. Now, the thing that I've said over the last couple of years that I think is so important as the freight industry is able to do more and more to reduce unnecessary carbon emissions and waste is to do the best we can at tracking it and reporting on it. When you actually create a metric for your company or you set a goal, you might not have all of the tools and data and know-how to make that a perfect metric with perfect data. But the most important thing is to just set that number and communicate to your company and your partners that it's important to you and ask for guidance on how to do better, how to improve it. We did that 5 or 6 years ago before we were even close to knowing exactly how to measure it. And every year we would reset that goal and push ourselves to do better and collect better data and kind of track it more accurately and learn how to read into what's happening. And after 4 or 5 years of doing that, we were able to release, a sustainability report. We're doing that again this year. And that is kind of a testament to just getting it out there. And so that's the thing I encourage people to do is just start, even if it's imperfect, because freight has such a huge opportunity. Nobody's going to get it right the first time. Everyone's imperfect at trying to measure sustainability impact. But if you say it matters, you're going to rally other people to try to figure it out alongside you, and you'll just get started. So one of those things that's kind of how I think about it. That's been our story. And I encourage others to set those goals. And when we talk to shippers, you can set a goal if you don't know exactly how to do it, and we can help you by providing a report and some data from what we see that tells you how you're performing. And when we see you improving, we can give you that data as well. So it's just about getting started.
Yeah, and you've been an incredible example for the industry, and your presence at MATS and the amount of carriers that were part of your program at MATS too is incredible to see. So excited to see what you do with this new capital, and hopefully have you on soon to talk about